Imagine being submerged in an ocean with no way to control your fate. You're swept away by an unseen force, dragged miles into the open sea. No land, no hope, just the vast, unforgiving ocean around you. This wasn't a movie scene, but the terrifying reality for 7 female divers on a holiday trip. On one fateful day, an unexpected and violent storm coupled with a powerful downcurrent turned a simple dive into a fight for survival. What started as an exciting adventure quickly morphed into a tragic ordeal that would claim the lives of 2 divers and forever alter the lives of the survivors. This is the Crystal Bay disaster, a story of nature's raw power, human perseverance, and the harsh consequences of underestimating the sea's might. On February 14, 2014, a group of 7 Japanese women set out on a diving expedition off the coast of Nusa Penida, Indonesia, in the famed Crystal Bay. The divers, consisting of 5 tourists and 2 experienced Japanese instructors, had no idea that this day would end in tragedy. After completing 2 dives that morning, the group embarked on a 3rd dive in the afternoon. Crystal Bay, known for its stunning marine life, was about to show them a side that had claimed lives before. As the day wore on, the weather turned, and the sea's unpredictability became a force they couldn't escape. The disaster began when the divers surfaced from the 3rd dive only to find that their boat had disappeared. Within moments, a storm hit, and the divers were sucked into a powerful downcurrent, swept miles away from their starting point. While they fought desperately to stay together, it was a battle against forces beyond their control. Over the next 3 days, they fought not just the ocean, but their own survival instincts. Crystal Bay, part of the Coral Triangle, is both a diver's paradise and a deadly trap. The area is famed for its abundant marine life, clear waters, and vibrant coral reefs. But lurking beneath the surface are dangerous currents that can quickly become lethal. The underwater landscape here is uniquely challenging steep drop-offs, strong tidal currents, and the confluence of 2 major water bodies create an unpredictable diving environment. The bay sits near the Lombok Strait, a major channel for the Indonesian through-flow. And this region's thermocline, where warm surface water meets cooler, denser water below, often causes sudden, drastic shifts in water density. When these shifts occur, the denser surface water sinks rapidly, creating powerful downcurrents that can pull even the most experienced divers deep into the ocean with no warning. These currents are infamous for their speed and intensity, making it nearly impossible to escape once you're caught in them. Though experienced divers flock to the area for its beauty, they're often unaware of how dangerous these currents can be, and how easily they can overpower divers, even seasoned ones who have completed dozens of dives. This was the fate of the 7 divers on that ill-fated day in 2014. The group of 7 had been diving together for most of the day, exploring the colorful coral reefs and mangroves of Nusa Penida. By mid-afternoon, they had completed 2 successful dives and were preparing for their 3rd dive near the northeast side of Nusa Lembongan Island. The dive seemed routine, and the water was calm as they submerged. However, within a short time, everything would change. The divers completed their dive, resurfacing to discover a disturbing reality. Their boat was nowhere in sight. With no boat in sight and no clear plan to return to shore, panic began to set in. The divers, led by instructors Shoko Takahashi and Saori Furukawa, tried to signal the boat using a flare gun, but there was no response. The weather, which had been calm just moments before, quickly took a turn for the worse. Dark clouds gathered overhead, and within seconds, a violent storm unleashed its fury on the group. As the storm raged, a downcurrent swept the divers off their feet. They were helpless against the force, being sucked into the ocean, spinning in all directions as they desperately tried to hold on to each other. The calm waters that had been there just moments ago turned into a chaotic and dangerous force. Once the storm subsided, the divers found themselves scattered in the open ocean, separated by miles of water. Despite the chaos, they managed to regroup and fight for survival. The ocean had already taken its toll, and the divers knew that their chances of surviving without immediate help were slim. The next 72 hours became an agonizing battle for survival, as they were tossed and turned by the ocean's current. Furukawa, one of the instructors, attempted to swim away from the group in search of help. She spotted a tugboat nearby and tried to get its attention. But the currents and waves proved too powerful for her to signal the boat effectively. Exhausted and separated from the others, Furukawa struggled, but managed to reach a rocky outcrop where she would later be found. The remaining divers managed to cling to a coral reef, hoping for rescue, but fate struck again. As they tried to climb onto the rocks, the waves swept away Takahashi and Miyata. The group was now down to 4. With no fresh water or food, the divers were forced to rely on what little they had left: washed-up plastic bottles to collect rainwater and coconuts that drifted by. But survival was not guaranteed, and the odds were against them. On the 3rd day of their ordeal, the divers had all but given up hope. Exposure to the sun during the day and cold waters at night had taken its toll, and they were struggling to stay conscious. But just as it seemed like all hope was lost, a fisherman spotted signs of people stranded off the coast of Nusa Penida. He immediately contacted authorities, and a rescue operation was launched. The survivors, weak but alive, were finally located, clinging to a reef about 20 kilometers from their last dive location. Miraculously, the 4 women were still in good health despite their harrowing ordeal. Though they were severely dehydrated and exhausted, the rescuers found Furukawa separately, injured and on a rocky outcrop. She was airlifted by helicopter to receive medical attention for her injuries. While the group was finally safe, the tragedy was far from over. 2 divers, Takahashi and Miyata, were still missing, and the search would continue for days. The survivors shared their experiences, revealing that the boat captain had abandoned them, further complicating the rescue effort. The search for Takahashi and Miyata continued as the remaining divers were treated in a local hospital. Miyata's body was discovered first, floating in the water. It was identified by her wedding ring, a heartbreaking confirmation of the worst fears. Authorities conducted an autopsy, revealing that she had been dead for at least 3 days, likely succumbing to the harsh elements of the ocean. With the discovery of her body, the hunt for Takahashi intensified. Days later, a fisherman in East Java reported finding a decapitated body washed up along the shore. The remains were believed to belong to Takahashi, and though the body was badly decomposed, forensic experts worked tirelessly to confirm the identity. Using DNA testing, they were able to confirm that the body was indeed Takahashi's. As the dust settled, authorities began to piece together the details of what had happened. The survivors recounted the events leading up to the tragedy, revealing that the boat captain had abandoned them after the storm hit. According to their statements, after the 3rd dive, the captain left the area to refuel, leaving the divers stranded without a way to return to safety. The Crystal Bay disaster is a haunting reminder of the risks involved in diving, even for seasoned experts. While the survivors showed incredible strength and resilience, the lives lost were a tragic cost of nature's unpredictability and human error. For the surviving divers, this experience changed them forever. Diving in locations like Crystal Bay requires not only skill, but also a deep understanding of the environment and the potential dangers. It's a harsh reality that we must never take our safety for granted in such extreme conditions. If you found this story compelling, make sure to like and subscribe. For more in-depth stories like this, dive into the comments and let us know what you think. Would you still dive in Crystal Bay knowing the risks? Stay safe and remember to respect the ocean.